Hey everyone, and welcome to Matchbook Mondays. So good to see you guys. I know it's been forever, but lots of good stuff coming, I promise. So let's just get into it, right? So today we're going to talk about storing your match covers. Now, I know this is not for full books. That can be another video. This is just match covers, right? So I get asked that a lot, like especially when I go to events, like, well, how do you store them? Do you have to store them in a binder? Things like that. And of course, no, you don't. But I'll tell you the reasons why you should. So anyways, let's talk binders. So binders, I mean, here's my thing. And this is a little like, I don't know, OCD of me, germaphobe. I don't know. A lot of collectors go to thrift stores to buy your binders, right? Because, and I get the logic. It's like, why am I going to spend that much money on new binders? Because binders are expensive. And I don't know if you know this, but if you go to Staples, just like a 3-inch binder will be like $12. And it's been like that for a long time, which I don't understand because people don't use binders a lot like they used to because everything's online, electronic. So you think they would be a little bit like, well, we got to get rid of these binders. But no. Binders are really expensive. So a lot of them will get used binders at the thrift store, and that's fine. I'm all for thrift store. I'm all for reusing. I can't do that. I know. It's just a lot of them are really grody, really nasty and old. I can't do with that. Now, sometimes you'll find new old stock, and that's great. If they're brand new, you can clearly see they're new. Someone probably bought them and their business failed, whatever, and donated them. That's fine. And sometimes Target, other places will donate all of, stuff to the thrift store. That's totally fine. But there's some nasty ones. And I mean, technology or, binder construction, I guess, has improved a lot. It used to be like that real thin kind of cardboard, so it just depends, I guess, on how big that category is going to be and your size requirements and the sturdiness and things like that. Now, you can, if you want new binders, like I do, there are some ways to get them fairly inexpensive, right? The biggest one I can suggest is Costco or Sam's Club. I know, of course, right? But you can get like a 4-pack of binders, different sizes, right? For pretty reasonable. I think the last time I bought, there were some bigger dudes, like some 3-inchers. I think it was like a 4-pack for $12.99. I mean, you can't beat that. That's the price of like one at Staples, right? So that's a good place. And I go to Sam's Club, so I'm not sure on Costco, but at least Sam's Club, they had different sizes. You can get the big ones, the 1.5, the littles. It was fine, and it's something they normally carry. Because I know Sam's Club and Costco, those kind of places will get rid of stuff and never bring it back. But usually the school supply stuff they keep pretty much on hand. I also like to go to, and I know I talk about it all the time, Daiso, which is the Japanese dollar store. I think the biggest ones I've seen there are the 2-inch. Normally they always have the 1.5-inch, which is pretty good. I mean, you think that sounds kind of small, but 1.5 inches is like that's a pretty good size. I think I have one here. So those are usually like $2.50 at Daiso for that size, and that's really good, and they're pretty decent quality. I've also found good binders at the 99-cent only store if you have that where you live. We do here in Southern California. I'll be honest though, they have those really thin, like ones that you put your school report in. Don't get those. Sometimes they'll have like a real binder, right? And they're like $1.99. I know. It was called the 99-cent only. I think they got sued. Now they're rebranded as the 99. But some things there are not 99 cents. But still, $2 for a decent binder is a pretty good deal. I've also gotten my little baby binders there when I can't get them at Target. So 99-cent only, even Dollar Tree, things like that. Check it out. But just make sure you're getting like the real hard binders. And also my last one, and I know I just talked a bunch of smack on Staples, but check the clearance section at Staples. Now, side note, the clearance section at Staples, which I love, sometimes the stuff there is not a very good price. So just look and see. You'll be like, oh, it's clearance. But you'll go and you're like, why is this still $7.99? Right? No, don't buy it. But they have had some pretty good deals. Like this one, I'll show you real quick. It's dog binder, and I think I got it for like $2. So I keep my dog matches in them, right? You know, like, why not? When I find a cat binder, the cats are going in there. But I'm just saying, check the clearance at Staples. Also collect the clearance. Check the clearance at Target. They usually will have, especially after like back to school, things like that, they'll have some binders in the clearance, and they're usually pretty good quality at Target. I will give them that. So, you know, and which I'll talk about in the next section, right? You can get some at Hobby Master. I'll go into Hobby Master in a minute, but when it comes to your binders, right, it depends on how deep you're getting into the matchbook collecting. I like to keep lots of sizes around because each category is a different size, you know. And I will say, regarding the thrift store binders, going back to that, you can find some interesting sizes there. One time, the place must have been like a tax place or something, and they donated their binders. And they were like the 6-inch ones, which that's too big for me, you know. But really, I can barely hold the 3-inch binder, and the heavier they are, just the sleeves are going to get jacked up, things like that, you know, and it weighs on your shelves. But some people like the huge ones. So if you're interested in weird size binders, go back to the thrift store, check that out. But anyways, I like to keep lots of different sizes on hand because some categories are bigger than others, right? Some I only need a little 1-inch binder, some I need the big one. When I get a category, I'll show you, that's too much. Instead of getting like a 6-inch binder, I'll just split it up and have 2 binders for it. That's just easier for me to handle. So think about that too. If you're not a very strong person, because they do get heavy, you know, space-wise, things like that. Keep that in mind when it comes to your binders, right? Hobby Master, like I brought up, does sell binders. Theirs are very cool. And I have a few, right? Here, I'll show you. Like this one says Matchcovers on it, right? Clears my Las Vegas, right? They're very nice. They are great quality, and I don't know if you can tell, but they're kind of padded, right? But which is nice. But some people don't like these, and rightfully so, because when you're on the shelf, it just takes up a little bit more room, right? Because it had like almost like an extra inch of space. And sometimes space is a premium on your shelf. So I know a lot of collectors don't like these thicker binders, but that's up to you. They are very sturdy, very good quality. So if you're more interested in that, go check out hobbymaster.com. Here's the website. I'll be talking about Hobby Master again. So I'm going to cut to a video real quick that I made regarding my sizes that I keep, you know, on hand regarding my collection, and I'll say it again in this video, it just depends on your needs. So check it out, and I'll be right back. So here we are in my junk closet, obviously, and here's where I store my extra binders. Now, like I said, unless you're really into the match cover collecting and you're just getting super deep, you don't need to keep this many on hand, but you will once you start rotating out your categories into bigger or smaller binders. So like those Orange County 20s and 30s, those used to hold that category, but now I needed a bigger binder because that category got bigger. So those got put back in here for me to use for another category when I need that size of a binder. But as you can tell, I have a good assortment. I have little ones, big ones. I have those little ones that I use for my napkin collection. Those white ones that say 3-ring binder, those I got at Daiso. The black ones with the yellow dot, those are from the 99. I have those cheapy portfolios from Daiso, and even like that mermaidy looking one I got in the clearance at Target. So I guess I'm gonna have to start collecting mermaids now. But anyways, you should keep some binders on hand, but like I said, just see where your collection's going and then determine what kind of sizes and binders that you need to keep on hand. I mean, it doesn't hurt. So like I said, you know, it just depends on your needs. It doesn't hurt. Like I said, does not hurt to keep some extra binders around, especially if you find some on sale. But look, I'll be honest, there's times I'm like, oh my God, just get rid of this crap. I have too much binders. like it's just too much, and I'm not rotating it out enough, you know. So just, like I said, it all depends on your needs and space, money, and time, right? So just keep that in mind when it comes to binders. But what are you going to put in the binders? Let's talk about that. So I call them sleeves. My friend calls them pages, whatever. They're plastic pages with little, slots that you can put your matches in, right? So those are the best things to use, clearly, for a binder. But I'll get into other ways of storing them in a binder. But anyways, I'll show you like the basic sleeves that you're going to need when you start your match cover collecting. Now, the most common one you're going to need is for your 20 strikes, right? Which is this one. So there's 4, so it's 8, right? On each side. These you can only get from Hobby Master. Here's the website again. They make these, they're great. They even say Hobby Master on the thing. You cannot find these anywhere else. You need to get these through Hobby Master. But Hobby Master is really great. Tell them I sent you. It's a mom and pop company. They ship priority mail, and the more I forgot how much dollars you get free shipping. The more sleeves you get, it goes down in price, So maybe go in with someone and buy a whole crap ton of sleeves and then split them. We do that a lot, actually. 'Cause I think it's 0 to 500 sleeves. It's 30 cents a sleeve. Then it goes right like that. So get in with people and maybe go in and get a big order, right? Because then you'll get the free shipping and it'll come down in price. But no, you have to get these at Hobby Master. Now I'll get to it. Hobby Master has tons of sleeves for all your other matches, all your other paper collecting needs. They have coin holders, all kinds of stuff. But the other sleeves you can kind of get other places. I'll get to that. But these, the 20 strikes, you're going to have to get at Hobby Master. The 30s, which are these ones, so there's 6 sleeves. These are Ultra Pro, and I get these at the local baseball card store. And because that's a mom and pop, I like to support them versus Amazon or whatever. So they usually have those. Really, check out your local baseball card store. They exist still, but now I guess it's more like Pokemon cards and Magic cards. But they always have this kind of stuff, all different sizes. At least the one I go to, because they also sell comic books, and so they have an assortment of sizes. And you can buy just a box. Usually a box is 100. It's 100 sleeves. You can buy a whole box. It's always around $20. And that's usually the price on Amazon too. So why not support your local business? But anyways, it's 100. But if you only need a few, usually they have an open one, and you just take the amount you need, and they charge you whatever, $5 for $1, whatever. So check out your local baseball card shop, comic book shop, because they'll probably have sleeves too. But yeah, these are Ultra Pro. These are great. The 40s, like these are called, I think these are postcard sleeves technically, but your 40s will fit perfectly in these. These are also Ultra Pro, and you can also get these at the baseball card store. Now we're going a little, those are the 3 you're gonna need. Those are the 3 you're gonna need when you're starting this matchbook collecting, right? Those 3. But now you're gonna start getting some more sizes. So these are midgets. I did a video about midgets, check it out. But these sleeves are for tobacco cards, but they fit your midgets perfectly, right? So I bought a box of 100 of these 10 years ago, and I'm almost out. But they'll last you forever, just depending on how many midgets you get. But yeah, these are great for midgets, tobacco cards, and these are also Ultra Pro. So there you go. And the last one you'll probably need are these, and I believe these are called Brochure Sleeves. So there's just 2. And they'll hold your giants just perfect too. And you can use them for your other things too. Like I said, there's a bajillion sleeves. I have sleeves for postcards that are 3. I like to buy there's coupon sleeves, because I have a little bit of coupons. I buy those. Those are from Hobby Master. I buy the stamp sleeves and put the black paper, and I stick my label collection. So anything you need for your matches or your paper collectibles, there is a sleeve to be had. Right. And you can buy all of these on Hobby Master, but you don't have to buy all of them on Hobby Master, except for the 20s. Now, I know you're like, wait a minute, you forgot 10s. Okay, well, there are no sleeves for 10s. Back in the day, people would make their own, whether using a sewing machine or a sealer, which I'll get into that. You don't need it unless you really want your 10s looking 10, right? Sorry about that. My camera quit filming all of a sudden, but let's get back to sleeves that we were talking about. So here are the sleeves you do not want to get. Now, you'll start finding what you're collecting, and maybe you'll get stuff from people, old sleeves, and you can tell they're old because they're thicker. The colors changed on them, a lot more brittle. They're tighter. Like when you try to stick the cover in, it's a tight fit, and even when you try to take them out, you can damage them because it's such a tight fit. The plastic's tighter too, it's thicker, and they don't have a gusset. Now I think it's called a gusset, so I don't know if you can see, like on the top, I don't know if you can see it. So this side is higher than this side, the front, and when you're taking your matches in and out, it helps you get your fingernail in there, your finger in there, to take the stuff and put it in, because it is two different sizes, right? And I know you're thinking like, well, who cares? Is that such a big deal? It is when you're putting a lot of matches away or taking a lot of matches out, or if you want to keep your cuticles. I mean, you'll see if you ever get some old sleeves, they are a pain in the butt to use. Also back then, they're not made with like paper safe chemicals and materials. Sometimes I've gotten like an old sleeve and the matches are stuck to it because they like melted, or the chemicals, and you can't get them out, or they get all jacked up. So if you do find them, and sometimes they'll say Better View, the Matchcover Corporation, you'll see it. They're not very good, and you'll feel them, and they're kind of smaller than this. Don't use the old sleeves. Really, your collection and your cuticles will thank you for that. They're just not good quality at all. I mean, granted, back then they didn't know any better, but we've made really big strides in paper technology regarding, acid-free, paper safe, stuff like that. So don't use old sleeves. Don't be that cheap. I know people will use them sometimes for like an auction, like they have a binder of matches in the auction, so they'll use the old sleeves just because they don't want to use their good sleeves. I mean, that makes sense, but you'll see when you're trying to take them all out and you're just like, oh, God, your fingers will kill you. They'll get jacked up. It's terrible. Also, you'll find sleeves that people have made, right? And I mean, I get it, but usually I don't like those because they'll take those really thin sheet protectors like you use for your school report, and a lot of them take a sewing machine, and you'll see it's like stitches making, because they take a whole sheet protector and then stitch and make their own things. I don't like those because when you're trying to put them in or take them out, the corner of your match cover gets caught in the stitches, right? And they're very flimsy. So once again, I would only use those for an auction when you just need something to hold the matches and you don't want to use your good sleeves. They are lighter, I'll give that, but they will not protect your matches at all. And I guess another thing too is double siding your covers, and I'll show you. Now, the problem is that some match covers have really good insides, right? And you want to see the insides or the information, things like that. But, like I'll show you here. So some don't, right? This one does. This one does. This one did not, so I put a cover behind it, right? I mean, some people don't do that. I don't have the money or the space to do that, because that means you would only be able to put 8 covers in this sleeve instead of 16, right? So if you're using just this with one side, your binders are going to be twice the size, and you're going to need twice the amount of sleeves. So it's up to you. If you have the money and the space and the time to do this, fine. I mean, I would, just because, like I said, there's some match covers where the insides are better than the outsides even. But that's up to you. Maybe I really like this inside. I'm not going to put anything behind it. But this one I will, because there's nothing behind it. You can do that too. I will do that sometimes if it's like a pop-up or a display. I won't put something there so you can see it, But that's another issue too when it comes to sleeves. That's, like I said, up to you. There's also sleeve storage, which I made another little video right here, where I'll show you what I do to store my sleeves. I just have like a old school cubby thing, like you would put your homework in school. That's worked fine for me. There's other things you can do too. You can get an inbox holder, anything like that. But let's go to this little clip where I'll show you how I store my sleeves, and I'll talk about that, and I'll see you in a minute. And here we are at my sleeve holding area. There's some of my matches down there. But as you can see, it's just some cardboard cubby thing. I think it's Staples. And I've had it for quite a while, so that's why it's not in the best shape. But I don't know if you can see, I did cover it with some vintage 70s contact paper, because why not, right? So, in actuality, I would like to have another cubby holder, because some of these cubby slots have multiple sizes of pages in them. So I have to go through them to find the ones I need. But the good thing is it's only rarely. The sleeves I use the most get their own cubby. So these are where I keep my 20s, my 40s, my 30s, the double brochure ones. So, because those are the ones I use the most, and those are the ones I usually keep the most of. So they get their own designated cubby. I am looking a little threadbare right now with those. I just need to make an order. I like to keep lots on hand, because unlike the binder situation, with these, you'll be like in a groove, you'll be putting them away, and then you run out. And it totally just slows everything down, halts your groove. I don't like it. So I always like to keep lots of sleeves on hand. And as you can see, I've been sleeving, so I need to order some more. But you can get like those like plastic in boxes would be great. Those magazine, like the cardboardy magazine holders, whatever works great for you. I've seen stuff at IKEA, like you can attach to the wall and it has like slots you can put your sleeves. And kind of like the binder situation, start with your basic sleeves, and then when you find the need for other sleeves, get other sleeves. I collect more than matches, so I have lots of different kinds of sleeves to hold my other collectibles. Like these are like mini binder sheet protectors, because there's my napkins and they go in there. And there's other things too, like these. When I sell on eBay, I sell matches on eBay, I'll put my covers in there because I want to protect the striker. And I have other sizes of that. This is just cardboard and packing mailing stuff, because I do buy a lot on eBay and I sell a lot on eBay. So I like to reuse the materials I get. So that's what I just keep in there. But anything works. I mean, if you find it better just to keep them all in like a one in box, fine. The original box they came in, that works too. Especially if you have Ultra Pro, because they come in a special kind of box with a display for, individual resale. Those are great too if you have the space. But for me, the cubby situation is the most compact, easiest way for me to keep my sleeves. So that is how I store my sleeves. Like I said, I can use the space, but whatever, it gets the job done for now. If I win the lottery, I can afford to have a bigger place with more sleeve cubbies and, all the sleeves in the world. But for now, that'll have to do. The one last thing I do want to talk about, and here's just a tip, is sometimes your sleeves do tear a little bit, like on the top when you're taking them out, which is fine. Sometimes I've had a batch where they didn't get sealed properly, so the matches are coming out. I use a sealer. Now, this is an old one. I need to get a new one. It's for like your potato chips, right? And you put batteries in it, and it heats up. Right. Sometimes it works when you, like, say, like this end was, split open, whatever, like that. Sometimes, I'm not left-handed, so let me say. Sometimes you can go like this, and this is how you do your chips, right? You press it, it gets hot, and then you go shh down the thing, and it seals it. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, even with this and the chips, right? What I like to do is, or sometimes it cuts it. It does that with the chips too. What I like to do is I'll just take it, right? And I'll just do like 3. I'll go like, what's it? 1, hot, melt it. 2, hot, melt it. 3, hot, melt it. So I have like 3 right here, and that holds it enough so your cover is not going to come out. Same thing, like if you have kind of like a loose sleeve and the things are sliding out, which they do sometimes, you can do that too, where you go psh. Just put a hot melter there and it'll hold your match in. Or a staple. I've done that too, especially if I'm traveling and I don't want the stuff to slide out, which it does. I'll staple it right here. Just one, and that'll hold it in. It won't fall out. So that's always something good to have too. I've had this one forever. I don't even think it heats up properly anymore. So, it did right there. What do you know? So anyways, get you a bag sealer. I'm sure there's better ones than that. So check that out. And I guess that's all we have for like sleeve talk. let's go into a few other things real quick too. Now, I've had people ask about scrapbooking stuff, and let's get into it. So that's a very old school way of doing your matches, because back then, even pre-bad sleeve, I don't think they had stuff like this, because they didn't have the plastic, so they would get like an old school scrapbook with the paper, and you'll see it a lot of times. They would just glue the matches and stick them on the scrapbook paper. If you're ever on eBay or you're getting matches and they show the backside and you see like paper stuck to it, that's what happened. So they had to end up cutting the matches off of that paper, right? Or you'll see these too. They're old, but they're called like Matchbook albums, Matchcover albums. And they're scrapbooks, but they're for matches. Now, and I don't have any, so I can't show you, but I'll try to get some pictures. Some have the little notches cut out. So you just slide your corners in, right? And it holds it. Others, I kid you not, because I found one time. It was blank, and it gave you like a little X-Acto knife that had 2 blades on it. So you would just go shoop, shoop, and then it made the things for your match covers. But you know what, back then they only had 3 channels on TV, so they had all the time in the world to do that. I would not have the patience for that anymore. Those books, like if you can find a really good match, cover book that has the slots already made, they're not terrible. They're good for an auction. Like if you're putting stuff in an auction or giving it to someone, they're a great temporary holder for those covers. The problem you find with those kind of scrapbooks, or just scrapbooks in general that are old, is the paper then was really dry. I know that doesn't make sense, but whenever you get a match book like that with matches in it, the paper's always brittle and dry, and it just sucks the moisture out of whatever's in there. So a lot of times when you get matchbooks or covers that are in one of those old scrapbooks, the match covers are super brittle and old, and you can't rebend them, and because just the moisture has just been leached out of everything. So that is a reason why the plastic, it doesn't, dry out your covers. And they're just very old school. It's a very old school way of storing them, and I get that. That's all they had back then. But I would recommend not using those unless you're going for the aesthetic of having like an old match album. Some look really cool. There's always that one you'll see, it's yellow and green, has a green, spine, and it's like matchbook collecting, and it has matchbooks on it. You'll see that a lot out and about. It looks kind of art deco-y. But that's just, unless it's a real nice one and you want it to look aesthetically correct, period correct, I would not use those. They're just, like I said, brittly, things like that. And that's just how it was back then. If you do the scrapbook, you can get the little corners, right? We've talked about corners, I think, in the display book. And that's a pain. They get loose too. Like I said, it's just my preference. What I've learned collecting, for the last 20 years or whatever. I think the best way to go is binders in plastic sleeves. You can't go wrong with that. The only other thing, and I should have brought this up with the binders, but then we'll go after this because I just remembered. I had a lot to talk about. Where do you get your collection in a binder? And I'll show you, right? And I have some pictures right here of one I have, and I know I'm bad for doing it. Really, if your collection, that category is too big for that binder, you're going to damage your covers and your sleeves, and get the appropriate binder. Because look at this one. That one's too much, right? I really need to change it out. I've just been lazy. This one's not too bad, but sometimes you'll see, like in this picture, the sleeves are like, right? And that's not good on your covers. So, FYI, just make sure you get the appropriate sized binder for whatever category it is. And that's it. I can't think of anything else to talk about. I'm glad we had this moment. And if you have any questions about storing your match covers, please let me know. Leave a comment. Because I just don't want your stuff to get ruined. And it is a lot of trial and error. But it's not as hard as people think. You know what I mean? The supplies are out there. The supplies are out there. Like I said, just the things you need to consider is cost, time, space, and your capabilities. when it comes to storing your matches. But that's it. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend. And I'll be back with another Matchbook Mondays video probably next week. Like I said, I have some coming, and hopefully they'll be good. And hopefully you'll get some information out of that. So I'll see you next time, and happy match cover collecting.